Good afternoon, good man. You're welcome to another edition of your favorite FinTech magazine, Financial Inclusion, FinTech Africa TV program. And this is your podcast, FinTech Africa Podcast. My name is Ajitumobi Olumayowa. I'm your host today. Today, we're going to be talking about something very fantastic, something interesting that is coming into the fintech landscape in Africa. None of it has ever happened before. This is the first time we're having something like this in the ecosystem. And without waiting too long, I'm going to invite the people behind this show to talk about it. I have two people joining me. They're going to introduce themselves. I'm not the one who's going to introduce them. And I'll call them one after the other to introduce themselves and give us their background. Mr. Martin, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, my brother. And it's interesting to be on this podcast. And we are going to have fun discussing some of the issues we are about to have. So basically, my name is Martin Kwame. I'm the president of the Ghana Fintech and Payments Association. Additionally, I'm a digital economist and a fintech specialist. Now, I've been in this industry for the past 10 plus years, which is over a decade. And we've been doing amazing work down here in Ghana and the rest of Africa. And what we're about to discuss has to do with your digital health and how we can take this seriously as a people, as a continent, and as a country. Thank you for having me. And it's going to be interesting. And we'll be happy to have your insights after the discussions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin Agawa. Mr. Solomon, can you please introduce yourself?
Well, hi everybody. My name is Nia Solomon. I reside in Accra, Ghana. I'm a playwright and a poet, and also an academic. I'm a full-time lecturer in one of Ghana's public university here in Ghana. Of course, I've been writing plays for many years now, and since 2015, I've been producing my own plays with a company called Village Minds Production. We're a household name in Ghana in terms of theater production and all of that. So I am super excited to be part of this conversation. And I mean, of course, we are all users of fintech and all the many things that comes with this. So I'm excited that I am connected to this particular project as the playwright.
Thank you very much. Mr. Martins, please can you tell us why we're here today?
Basically, we are here because of a project called the Cyber Heist. Now, why Cyber Heist? Cyber Heist is basically a thrilling yet educational, entertaining play that was carved as a result of the cyber crimes or cyber related issues we have in the country, in Ghana. The rising surge of this has made it necessary for us to, take education, advocacy and campaign awareness surrounding our leap into the digital age more seriously than ever. So we came out and crafted what we call Cyber Heist, which is just a play that we are going to leverage on to educate Ghanaians and hopefully the entirety of Africa on how to be mindful of engagement on social media or online as we have been, enveloped into, particularly in the 21st century. And so you'd bear with me that digital frauds, scams, and data breaches and cybersecurity threats and risks have become predominantly high in Africa. And a lot of the emerging technologies actually point to the fact that we are not actually prepared, or we are not really prepared for some of the issues as it relates to engaging online in the digital age. And so this play basically points out some of the trailing issues, some of the avenues that this cyber, criminals leverage on to access your data, to make away with your finances, your hard-earned money. And you bear with me, viewers, that one of the prominent areas that cyber criminals target is your finances, data from hospital, your data records from the hospital, and what have you. So today we are here to present to you the play called Cyber Heist and what it seeks to offer to you as anybody engaging in the digital age. But a point of caution and of importance that I want to put out there is the fact that um, this play does not, it's not age limited. It is for every one of us, from the young to the old, because we are all engaging digitally these days. We are all doing one or two things via our phones, via laptops, via social media, and all that. And so we need to be very careful. So as we go on, we would learn more about why cyber heist and why this play as a form of campaign awareness creation and educational drive across Ghana, and hopefully we extend it across the continent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Let me first ask you, it's quite an interesting topic, and it's quite interesting because it affects everybody. But let me ask you, why the storyline? Why cyber heist, and why do you decide to do something about cybercrime and the challenges in Ghana or in Africa, as the case may be?
Okay. So in my introduction, I highlighted the importance of why we are engaging online in the 21st century. But a lot of data have pointed to the fact that Africa is not actually ready in terms of cybersecurity awareness, data breaches, and all that. These attacks we are getting left, right, center. I mean, I can do a lot of examples, and I'm going to actually back this with some statistics. Now, I'm going to take it from the global point of view, bring it down to Africa, and then within the context of Ghana, I'm going to look at some of the data that is actually giving us this idea of making sure that we change the narrative. But some may ask, why cyber heist, as you are asking, why a play? Now, the rationale for a play is not so different from what we all know, and that is the fact that from generations we've realized that Africans, we don't like to read. So anything put in books or paper, we are not really interested. And so, from my own experience, having worked in the financial sector for over 15 years, one of the things I notice is anytime we go out on this educational drive, financial literacy campaigns, we adopt the lecture based approach. Now, the lecture based approach is usually used, and most of the people that we are actually trying to engage in terms of financial literacy are not really educated, and they don't understand some of these jargons we use when it comes to financial literacy or digital literacy and what to have you. So what we came up with this play is to actually practicalize some of the things that happen when it comes to how risky or how vulnerable some of the vulnerabilities when it comes to engaging online. So instead of using the lecture-based approach, we said, okay, we are going to use the concept of a lecture-based approach, also inculcating that with storytelling. That is why cyber heist came about, or that's how cyber heist came about, and we are here to actually understand this. Now, let's look at the statistics. Okay, let's look at the statistics from a global perspective. Now, the Global Cybersecurity Outlook for 2025 is a report that is usually developed by the World Economic Forum. Now, what does this report say? It says that 72% of organizations reported a rise in cyber risks over the past years. 72% of organizations. That is, if that is not alarming, I don't know what is. 72. That is, I mean, in university, that would be a B plus or an A minus. So this actually tells us that we are all at risk, because if 72% of organizations globally reported a rise in cyber risks, that means it's really an alarming and an issue that needs urgent attention. So that alone gives us an understanding of the stark reality we are in. Now, when we look at Africa, let's look at Africa. Okay. Now, Interpol also came up with a report called the Africa Cyber Threat Assessment Report in 2024. Now, what does this report mean? Or what did it reveal? It revealed that one in every 15 organization in Africa experienced some form of ransomware attempt weekly in early 2023. Weekly, every week, there's a ransomware attack or attempt, and this actually surpasses the global average. Okay, and these attacks often target critical infrastructure, like I mentioned earlier, financial institutions and finances, your money, bank accounts, hospitals, and health records, with the average cost of this reaching 5 point, I mean, about 5 million US dollars. And this also reveals a 13% increase from 2022. That means in 2023, there were more ransomware attacks, cybersecurity attacks in Africa, which is a 13% increase from 2022. So these and others are actually revealing the stark realities. Now let's look at Ghana. Okay, let's look at Ghana. Okay, Ghana has achieved some milestones. No two ways about that. With the coming up of the cybersecurity authority, which most African countries do not currently have, a cybersecurity authority. However, despite these advancements, Ghana remains vulnerable to cybersecurity threats. So let's look at 2023. Ghanaians lost about 59.9 million to cybercrime, with online fraud accounting for 35% of incidents. Online fraud, 59.9 million. I mean, this could build about 2 or 3 hospitals in Ghana, my brother. So, I mean, the generality is that we are not prepared as a country, as a continent. So then, having understood some of these issues, then we went and said, okay, we want to undertake, as an association and other partners, we want to undertake a holistic approach to some of these issues and go around the country educating people on some of these things. But we are not going to only use the lecture-based approach, which has always and predominantly been the channel that many people have used. We are going to change the narrative, introduce the play. That's how come Cyber Heist came about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You spoke passionately about this, and that's quite good. But let me just ask you, why did you do the research, and do you have any experience or a case study that has led, personal case, by the way, that
Yeah.
has led to this passion of yours and commitment of yours?
Well, honestly, my brother, I mean, you and I have known each other for over 5 years now. And in recent years, starting last year, I had personally had, a lot of people budging my phone from time to time, asking about, oh, I just sent money to somebody and I realized I was defrauded, and I had to, always come up with ways and solutions to resolve it. So when that comes, my first point of call is, to contact the institutions that they actually used in terms of sending those funds, and usually it's Telecel in Ghana, or MTN, or Airtel, Tigo, and all those places. And so, I mean, MTN and even Telecel cash CEOs can even tell you that, oh, Martin has constantly been reaching out to us on these issues. And this is because my phone or my personal contact has now become a reporting avenue for some of these issues. And it's becoming a lot. I mean, even recently, 219, I think this was before the holidays, 219 cyber criminals were arrested in Ghana by the IOCO Ghana, which is the Economic Crime Office of Ghana. So it shows that, yes, the criminals are around, they are within our neighbors, they are within our locality, and these issues are becoming predominant. Phishing attacks, SIM swaps, and all that. They are becoming predominant. And in the financial space, exactly, we are seeing them more quite often. And I, for one, have had stories. Even recently, an auntie of mine, just about 2 days ago, called me and was like, oh, one of her friends who is a pensioner has actually gotten his accounts, 2 bank accounts cleared without having to be the one to engage. So these issues, we need to take them seriously. That's why we are trying to champion this innovation or idea or concept to more like bring the issues to the fore and get people to understand it through storytelling.
Thank you. Why do you think it's important to tell this story now? And what message are you hoping viewers globally across the world can take away from this?
Okay, so I think for me this is really important because um, technology these days is becoming rapid. We are seeing the development of new and emerging technologies on a daily basis, new products, new services, and all that. So, as we also develop or come up with these new technologies, the cyber criminals are also watching, and they're also developing new methods, new ways, and avenues to, to defraud us, you know. And so I think it's important to start telling the stories now because we are in an age where technology, as we used to know it a decade ago, is not the same thing now. And so it's I think I'm looking for a word. It's now imperative. The imperative, it's an imperative thing for us to do now. And I think once we start, the rest is going to catch up, and it's important, really, really important.
Thank you very much. Mr. Solomon,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you've been sitting down hearing the statistics and the issue of cybercrime and what have you. You are a playwright and a poet, and I think you are very much involved in the production. Please, can you give us a brief overview of the storyline and challenges?
Thank you very much. I mean, let me first of all say hello to all those who are listening and watching us from the continents of the world. And let me hurriedly say that theater is the mirror in which we see ourselves. And there's no better way of trying to solve these menace that seems to be plaguing society in a very much more better way. And using theater for me, I believe is the right medium to be able to educate people because sometimes people want to see, they want to hear, and once you tell, they listen. And so it is very important that we use theater. And to your question, um, I think that it's so crucial. Looking at the story actually touches on every bit of aspect of some of the fintech issues, especially pertaining to our day-to-day transactions, our relationship with people, the little mistakes we make that sometimes affects us big time. You are in a public space, and then you just log on to their internet, and then you are actually using that to access very vital informations like your bank account and all of that. You actually, your account could be hacked and your monies in your account could be, taken away. So the story essentially evolves around a particular family that each member of the family actually had to go through these cyber attacks one way or the other, either in the office, either in the public domain, or just somebody calling them and saying, "Can you verify this information for us?" And they see that as nothing, and then they give out information, and before they know, their accounts are their monies and other things are taken away from them. So it's a play that is set within a family setting, and these families had also had friends that they engage with. That each one of them also had these attacks. Either it's a phishing attack, or it's a cyber attack, or it's a mobile money fraud that is taken away from their mobile wallet or something like that. So yeah, basically, this is what the story is all about. And at the end of the day, obviously, the audience will be educated on how to handle some of these attacks and some of the mistakes we also make to allow these attacks to come to us.
Thank you very much. I'm not too sure you introduce yourself. Maybe after this question, when you take it, you please introduce yourself. But I'd like to ask you, how accurately does this play portray the realities of cybercrime in Ghana as it is today?
I think that this play actually really does justice to some of the mm, problems we are facing in Ghana, most especially the mobile money frauds, the phishing attacks, and so on and so forth. Let me hurriedly say that the story was actually from Kwame, and I, being a playwright, just had to piece it together. So he had a master plan. He had the story because he works within the fintech environment, and I like it a lot when, because I'm an academic, when the proper research is done, so that it's easier to allow you to flow with the writing, and it's essentially that is done. But situating the play within Ghana, if you come to watch this play, trust me, you see yourself in it. You see yourself in it, in the sense that some of the issues that we go through here in the country, in terms of mobile money fraud, somebody calling you and say, can you verify this account for me, or I have transferred X amount of money into your account. Once you're not smart, before you know, your money is gone. I give you a typical example. There was a major problem on social media recently where a young lady had 11,000 Ghana cedis taken away from her account, and she just didn't know how this money just vanished like thin air from her account. And sometimes through conversations, we give out very important information. Somebody can just call you and ask you some very simple question, and before you know, you are giving out vital information. And when you watch this play, like I said, theater is a mirror in which we see ourselves. You would realize that, I have also made this similar mistake before, and I was attacked. And so the play is well situated in Ghana, and by extension, I believe that other African countries will also benefit from it, because these days in Africa, we all use the mobile wallet and all these mobile wallet accounts. And one thing we all love is we all like to, plug into free Wi-Fi, and that also sometimes comes with its own ramifications. There are certain Wi-Fi's that when you plug in, they take up all your data. They can have all your customer data from your name to your date of birth. I don't know how they harvest this information, but they can have all this information. So anybody who comes to see this particular production, you would see that the play is well situated in Ghana, and it's definitely a very, very important educational play that I think that everybody should be able to get a ticket to come see it.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. Mr. Martins, I'm coming back
Yeah.
to you. I don't want you to get off yet. Uh, and this is quite
Yeah.
practical. And I'm going to ask you, what are some of the methods of cyber fraud that this play brings to light?
Thank you once again. My brother has mentioned some of them. We are looking at phishing scams, impersonation, SIM swaps, and fraud. We are looking at a whole array of, because he did mention that the play actually is centered around a family, and how this family, went through different varieties or different avenues through which this, cyber criminals use or leverage on to, do whatever they needed to do. And so it depicts different aspects of how, and the fun for me is we get to even see how, some illiterates or, underserved communities are taught, or are, through this play we use that to teach them how to engage within the digital economy, how to access funding, how to use digital financial services, and what have you. So I think for me it's important that the methods or avenues that cyber criminals are leveraging on these days are becoming more prominent and more, easy, and so this is why we need to channel our resources to activities like this, and to make sure that we see this before they start coming or they start happening. So we're going to be doing seeing things like the um, you know fraudulent withdrawals, forgery, manipulation of documents, impersonation, and how even savings or lending fraud through digital financial means, and e-money fraud, and cyber email fraud, and whatsoever. So I mean, we try to capture as much as we can, and how even your data can be harvested through some of this illegal or unlicensed fintech apps or applications or banking platforms. So yes, these are some of the ways we are going to,
Yeah,
or some of the
and
channels.
even let me add that I mean, if, even issues with celebrities, people, posting as celebrities and asking you to bring X amount of money because they're going to do X Y Z for you, only to realize that indeed they were living a fake life and they are not the person you thought they
Yeah.
were. You transfer your monies to them only to realize that they go away with your money and you can't find them. So these are some of the issues that are also addressed in, and especially in our society now where you find so many people trying to make quick money. So they'll tell you bring XYZ money, I'm going to double it up to this amount of money. And you are just transacting online with somebody that you don't know. So when the person just, bolts away with your money, you have no idea and where to catch the person. So
Okay, thank you. I mean, you did very well in explaining that part, but let me just ask you, what is the motivation behind the play? Is it just about the money, or you're trying to address some societal issues that we have ongoing at the moment?
I don't think the motivation is it's money. And even for me being a playwright in Ghana, most people who know me very well and have come to see my production will tell you for a fact that each of my productions try to solve one way or the other one societal problem. And there's a reason why when Martin approached me and came up with this concept, I immediately jumped on it. Over the years, I've written plays on homelessness in Ghana. I've written plays on family issues in Ghana, and so on and so forth. I always want to tackle this, the issues that are going on. I've done a play on urban rural migration, why people migrate from the northern part of Ghana to the south to look for greener pastures, and so on and so forth. So I think that it is not about the money. This actually is becoming a menace in Ghana. For example, even today, while I was at a production meeting rehearsing, I got a phone call from somebody who wanted to scam me, you know. And my wife is my witness. She was sitting right by me, and then the person. So there are a lot of scamming issues that are going on. I don't know, maybe because the economy is so hard and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. So people are just trying to find easy ways of making money, and it's the reason why. And of course, the fintech companies in Ghana are doing well. They're trying their best to be able to sensitize people and educate people on what to do and so on and so forth. Being a playwright, this is more like a CSR for me, to also jump into the same pool and help bring people out, because there's so many people that are not sure about some of these issues. And there's no better way to tell the story. There's no better way to help people out of this by using theater. Coming to sit in the auditorium, watching a production like this, you will definitely learn something. And you would be thoroughly educated to be able to handle some of the issues. So that when someone is calling you and is trying to get something out of you, you know that this is an alert that I need to be careful so that I'm not scammed.
Thank you very much. Mr. Martins, do you have anything to add to
I
this?
think I think I just want to add a little to what my colleague just said. Now, this whole production, as we started, has not really, we've really not made any money from this. Nobody is actually supporting us. We are actually doing this because of the necessity that we see from engaging people to make them understand the menace that we are currently facing in the country. And I can tell you from the statistics or the research we've done, this is not just a Ghana problem. It's a continental problem because most of the emerging technologies coming up now are not Ghana or Africa, made, and we are adopting most of those things from the Western world, and we need to learn how to be able to leverage on them for economic growth, and otherwise we might fall on the sharp end of the sword. But one of the things I also want to point out is the fact that we need to take this seriously. We have a bit, for me, from where I sit, we have not taken cybersecurity related or fraud or digital. I mean, it's happening and nobody's talking about it. But the message has to now get down there to the people that, oh, when you see an alert like this, when you see, and so that companies, I mean, not just fintechs, So my brother, it's not just fintech, the banks. So that when these people need to start churning a lot of their CSR funding into this area, so that the message can get down to the people. And sensitization is needed. A lot more education is needed in this digital age to protect our digital health and sanity. So that's basically why we are coming out with this. And I mean, irrespective, we'll still need the support of government, private institutions, and even NGOs, INGOs, to make sure that we get the message out there to everybody that is engaged online. And everybody that's engaged online is not only those in the cities or those illiterate alone, or those literates. The illiterates in the mid-urban to rural areas also need to get this message, and that is the rationale. Because after this place, we plan to have or to raise some funding. That is when we are going to be talking about the monetary aspect of it. But currently, you just need to pay about, is it 150 Ghana cedis? I don't know how much is in dollars currently. 150 Ghana cedis to just come and watch this play. And for students, it's just 70 cedis. So I think it's not about the monetary part, but we are looking at the impact that we want to have in this space, where we are looking at the lessons that people can learn and how to be very watchful as they engage online.
Thank you, sir. We're still talking about this play, and I want to ask you, how does this play touch the ethical dilemma between survival and criminal behavior in the digital age?
And for
Okay,
me, okay, Martin, you
okay.
can go.
No. You go ahead.
Oh, no, no, no. Just just answer the question.
Too many answers.
Too
Yes,
many
Martin.
answers. Too many educated people. So Neil, over to you. Yeah.
Oh, for me, I think that of course, when there's scarcity, people try as much as possible to find other means to survive. You know, but in doing that, there are also other ethical issues that we have to look at. Is it what you're doing? Is it morally right? Is it ethically right? Is it good to be able to fraud people because of survival issues? We know that there are other societal issues, yeah, and of course in Ghana people will tell you that it's not easy now, times are hard. We know times are hard everywhere in the world, and but that doesn't mean that people should take the law into their own hands and begin to fraud people. And it is the reason why this production seems to arm people with a lot of information, so that when someone is coming to scam you, when someone is coming to take the little you've earned and made and gathered, I mean, you don't want someone to just come in and take it away in just a minute. And that's why we want people to be armed with a lot of information and arm people with a lot of education. Martin started by saying that when you put things in a book, people don't read. But coming to watch this, which has a lot of humor too in there, it's more relaxing, and you go home learning something. And is the reason why we try to you know stage this particular play. Of course, there are so many ethical issues there, and there are also a lot of survival issues there. But we can't say that because we want to survive, we actually break all ethical codes to be able to do anything we want to do to be able to live. That then in such a situation, we are actually in a very anarchical world. But where we care for each other, we have developed some serious symbiotic relationship with each other. We need to also help people to be able to get out of this, because there's so many people that have been drowned in scams, and we are not talking about small scams. They're like serious scams where people's fortune have been taken away from them, and people need to actually get a lot of information to help them. I'm sure
Thank
Martin
you.
definitely would.
Yes.
Uh,
So let me add to that. I think just to buttress a little, um, you know, I mean, Olu, you've known me in the financial sector for God knows how long, and I just want to share some statistics about what's happening, or the fraud that is happening within the financial sector. Now, this data is from the Bank of Ghana. Okay. Now, this data was collected from three subsectors of the financial sector. This is the commercial banks, special deposits institutions, and the payment service providers, which are the fintechs. So commercial banks, special deposits institutions, and the payment service providers, the fintechs. Now, what did that data say? It says that what the count of fraud cases, just the count of fraud cases in Ghana increased from 15,865 in 2023 from 15,164 in 2022. This is just the count. Okay, so that's a 5% rise between 2022 and 2023. Now, let's also see how much in terms of total value monetary terms was lost in 2023 when it comes to this count. The monetary value that was lost in 2023 was 88 million Ghana cedis. 88 million Ghana cedis. Now, in 2022, that amount was 82 million cedis. 82 million Ghana cedis, which is an increase by 7%. And I always say that this data even doesn't this data doesn't even give the reality on the ground. It doesn't provide the statistics. And I think whether this is ethically or morally right makes me understand that looking at the statistics and data, because I like to speak by the books. It tells you that we are all vulnerable. The vulnerabilities are there. And so it points to the fact that we need to start taking our digital health seriously. And this play has actually come to bring light to some of these issues.
A question. I just want you to talk
Yeah.
about this. How does this play address the role of institutions such as banks, fintech, or law enforcement in combating or enabling cyber fraud?
Okay, so one of the things that I do believe in is that at this point, the whole issue about being cyber safe does not only it's not only the mandate of these institutions you mentioned, but our individuals, we ourselves as individuals must be very, very careful once we engage online. So we shouldn't leave. Over the years, we've left some of these issues to just the authorities to take care of. But it is not like that anymore. It's just like how you have your phone in your palm and you are responsible for everything you do on in there. So that means anything you do online now, you have to be very careful. You have to take it seriously, and it is in your own, interest to make sure that you are careful and you take this thing seriously. And so, these institutions cannot do all. In Ghana, like I just pointed out to the Iyoko, picking up 219 people just this weekend as it relates to their cybercrime related activities in the country. Yes, of course, the ears and eyes of the authorities are out there also monitoring some of these things, picking up surveillance and feedback from the communities. But you as an individual, once you are engaging online, you need to take your engagement seriously, learn how to communicate your passwords. Like my brother or my colleague rightfully pointed to, some of the things that these people pick up are just through conversations with you. Okay, your passwords and all those things are just communications with you. And so I think we shouldn't always dwell on looking at the role of the authorities, because they cannot do all. So we have to also take the responsibility on ourselves to achieve this safety within the digital space.
Thank you, Mr. Martins. There's a question from one of our viewers. I think this is from YouTube. The question is, and I'm going to ask Mr. Solomon to take this. How long is the play for?
Well, the play is 1 hour 30 minutes play.
So to our viewer, sales daily, the
Yeah.
play is for 1 hour 30 minutes. Before we go on, can you tell us where they can actually get to watch it in Ghana?
So the play will be showing at the National Theatre of Ghana on Friday, 2nd May 2025, at the National Theatre of Ghana. So if you're in Ghana within this time, wherever you're watching us from, if you're in Ghana by the 2nd of May, the National Theatre of Ghana is the place to be. 7 p.m. You should be seated in the main auditorium to see this beautiful production.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. The question is for both of you, and I want each and of you to answer this from different perspectives personally. What are some of the key challenges you face in translating such a complex issue like cybercrime into a cinematic story?
For me, I think that the challenge of making sure that the story you're telling is true. I mean, in academia, they always say you have to triangulate, So I think that that's the reality, because these are some of the realities that are going on, and you have to ensure that what you are telling people is not lies. These are some of the things that is happening. So, and then also from much more, Martin will talk about his, but from much more of a theatrical perspective, this is not like your regular story. This is not like your regular play. I mean, you tell stories across board, and so this is one of those unique stories that you want to tell, and in telling it, it is not that simple. You want to make sure that you're telling it well. You want to make sure that when people come to see it, they actually see themselves in the story, and they enjoy it thoroughly. So putting the production together, I must say, hasn't been easy. And of course, looking at our time frame too, which is one of our challenges, is pretty much short to be able to do this. But it is coming quite well, and the cast are learning their lines very fast. And hopefully by the 2nd of May, our production should be ready for everyone to be able to see.
Mr. Martins.
Yes, I wanted you to call my name before. Yes, I mean, honestly, my brother has said it all. It wasn't easy, but when things happen and they are practical and they are actually things that are affecting people negatively, it's easy to translate. Not entirely easy, like you said, it's complex. It becomes, a bit of something that you would want to see um, people relating to. One of the things I picked up from this was the fact that it made me understand some types of fraud, some types of scams, how to relate to it, and how we can make it more believable, more interesting, because these are issues that are happening on the daily. These are issues that are happening on the daily. The SIM swaps are happening on the daily. No wonder in Ghana we are coming to do re-registration of our SIM cards. So these issues are prevalent, and I think it was interesting trying to put this together. The sleepless nights, it wasn't easy, but at the end of the day, I'm happy that we were able to work together. From my practical knowledge of this, and his theoretical or theatrical knowledge, and being able to blend this complexities into something that could be more educational, entertaining as well for the audience.
Okay, thank you, sir. I like the fact that you people, you're putting things together for to protect each and every one of us. Most importantly, to protect our pockets. But let me ask you: were there any scene or moments in the play that possibly was particularly powerful or emotional for the cast or crew?
Yeah, for me, if you watch this, you would feel for the family. So this is a family that each member of the family, one way or other, got scammed, and that is crazy. So you feel very bad for them. If it were just one member of the family getting scammed, or you would or attacked, you would say, okay, it's just one person. It starts from the mother, who was scammed a huge sum of money. Then the man of the house bank account was hacked. Then the son was also attacked. So for me, that actually drives a lot of emotions, and when you watch it, and then a very close family member who also was scammed big time. For her, she wouldn't even listen because she thought everything else was just true. What she was seeing online, the way the person was representing himself and showing himself online, this was like somebody that is trustworthy, only to come to the space and realize that she's just been scammed by the person and couldn't even call the person because the person has just blocked her number. So those were, like, if you ask me, key highlights of the play that actually will make you very emotional.
Well, thank you very much. Let's take a few moments and see if we can play the snippet about this our good play.
In a world fueled by high smartphone penetration, faster internet, low data costs, and powerful influence of social media, digital opportunities and risks are everywhere.
Hey, let me tell you, last night's performance was legendary. You should have seen the way the bike caught fire.
Hey, I don't even trust myself.
Only, yes, I trust. You even came with a pen drive. I even gave him my Netflix password.
Who sent you?
Yes. Oh yeah, for that I even sold it too. Oh, you are typing like you are hacking back from Ghana.
Received an email from the bank saying that there has been a suspicious activity on my account.
Suspicious activities, you say?
Yes. Bring them a magnifying glass. Can you see this? Can you see the logo? Can you see that the logo is real?
Anyone with Photoshop can create a logo.
Thank you very much. That's the snippet of the video right there. Thank you for a good job. I need to commend your effort in putting that up. Thank you. Good job. Now, my question back to you, Mr. Solomon. How did you balance entertainment with education in this play?
Oh, you would love it. You love it. You love it. So, in as much as there are a lot of very heavy, hefty issues in the play, we also do realize that most of the audience that are coming in are also, they also need to be entertained. And so there are key dramatic elements that we have added into the play. There's a little bit of dance in there. There are elements of comic reliefs in the play that will actually make you laugh so much. And so we have added these little elements to it to be able to entertain the audience while we also keep our agenda of educating them throughout the time in which they watch the production. So yeah.
Oh, thank you very much for that. Still talking about the play because we're trying to round up the session now. Talking about the play, I'm trying to put my question in the right perspective.
Yeah.
Um, what are the techniques, or what technique did you use to portray digital crimes virtually, given the cyber fraud can sometimes often be invisible in your play?
Oh yeah, there are a lot of there are a lot of techniques we use. So first of all, there's the set design also speaks for itself, and then of course within the stage there's also going to be a screen to be able to also aid us with the way we want to tell our storytelling, and and of course the dramatic elements in the play, and also how the script was also scripted. Also aids in this regard. So, for example, um, when you watch the production, it's almost like you're sort of understand everything that's going on, because for example, when somebody gets an alert, we use technology also to be able to aid us. So while the person is in the office, the person gets an alert, and the person gets to read what sort of alerts they have, and then there's somebody on the other side that's also transacts with the person. So it makes everything look so real while you watch the production on stage, so that the storytelling is told in a certain way that will make you understand. If this was a film, of course you do so much editing and all of that on the other side, and you can do different things for people to be able to feel it. But this is a live performance, and so we've been able to put together all these different elements to make sure that the story come alive and tell the story the way we have to tell it.
Yeah, Mr. Martins, you want to add more to that?
He mentioned a lot of the techniques. One of the things I also want to add is the fact that it's not all cyber criminals that operate, within the shadows. Okay, there are those also within you, within your environment, within your workplaces. For instance, take uh, insider threat, for example. The people are actually within your workplaces, and they're actually taking out data or harvesting data and selling them off to other people for this kind of activities, but particularly when it comes to the digital financial frauds and scams. So in some parts, some of the techniques we deployed were, you hear, for instance, a bank operator calling within, this is somebody that's not within the set or on the stage with you, but you hear their voice communicating to and fro with the cast on stage. And we also used, the elements where you see some of the cyber criminals coming and walking around and having discussions with you, but you would not actually know that they are your friends. For instance, in the video ad we played, his own friend who he trusted sold his Netflix password that he gave to him. So you might think you trust your friends, you write your passwords on sticker notes on your notebooks and all that, but these are the same people who are using this vital information of yours for unscrupulous activities, and we detect that in various ways. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, our viewers, if you have any question, please let us know. You can ask them on the various platforms you're watching us from, whether it's on Facebook, on YouTube, Instagram, or LinkedIn. We're trying to wrap up now for the next edition, because we need to bring you back to talk about some other things as regards this movie, the play, as the case is. What impact do you want this to achieve in Ghana, in Africa, and the world at large?
Well, for us, we want this to have as much impact as possible. We want people to be liberated from the shackles of being scammed and being pushed down by these scammers. And as much as possible, we want people to be aware of some of the security issues, and even some of the minor if you like, mistakes they make and don't even consider them, which sometimes comes back biting them. So we want this play to go as far as it can, and if possible, with funding, we should be able to even travel the continent of Africa, staging this play in different African countries, and raising this awareness there. And of course, for our goal is to start small from Accra, and before we know, we are entering into the other regions of Ghana to make this quite known to people. So we we really want to make a lot of impact with this play, and we believe that if you come see this play, you would see how relevant it is and how important it is for us to have this conversation, and also for us to be able to find a proper solution to some of the cyber menace that we are all being faced with here.
Thank you very much. Mr. Martins.
Yeah. So for me, one of the things we want to do is, you see, I learned from a colleague, a senior colleague, who said this, and I have to, also put it out there. It says when a plane falls, when a plane actually falls, when there's a plane crash, you can actually account for every soul, every individual on that plane. But when a financial crisis happens, most often than not, we are unable to trace or account for everybody. For instance, take the 2008 financial crisis, people who lost their funds and all that. Who can account for them? Were we able to give any tentative number that these were the people who were affected one way or the other due to this? So the impact of scams, cyber security or cyber crime related issues, people losing their money, we are unable to trace that. But the issues are, humongous. They are very huge. And so I think for me, the impact is for people to understand, to be very careful of some of these tricks, some of these channels, some of these avenues that these hooligans or these cyber criminals leverage on to defraud them of their hard-earned money, particularly from where I sit in the financial sector, of their data as well. Because I mean, who knows? We are talking about open banking now, digital banking or open banking now, where you as an individual, you have unfettered access to your banking details and data. With that access brings risk and opportunities. The risk are being able to identify, point out some of the avenues these people would use to ask you to input your password, or the phishing scams and all these things. So for me, that's the impact we want to make. And as my colleague rightfully mentioned, we don't want the play to end here. We are actually seeking for support to bring it to other African countries, to bring the message out there in the storytelling format, as we are always or we've heard today. Thank you.
Well, viewers across Africa and globally, you've heard the story from the horse's mouth. We are seeking for your support. This project needs your support, your financial support, your institutional support, and your structural support. Please reach out to us, Financial Inclusion Africa. Reach out to us, Ghana Payment and Fintech Association. Reach out to us, Africa Fintech Network, and we will get back to you. And Mr. Martins, it's
Yeah.
nice having you on this program. Thank you for your time. I actually appreciate it. And Mr. Ni Ayi Solomon, thank you for spending your time with us.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we'll have you again in the next couple of days to finish up this session of our interview and
Thank you.
display of our most precious, the best so far, the first so far in the industry. Thank you for putting this together. And to our viewers back home, continentally, across Africa, globally, wherever you're watching us from, it's another edition of FinTech Podcast Africa. Until we meet again on this same channel, on this same platform, I remain yours, Ajitimobi Olumayewa. See you again next time.